Good evening, I'm Duke Root, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The Nebraska women's gymnastics team is set to compete in the second round of the NCAA Championships on Friday, April 4th at the Alaska Airlines Arena in Seattle. The Huskers will compete in Session 2, which starts at 9 p.m. and will be streamed on ESPN+. Nebraska will face off against number 2 Oklahoma, number 15 Auburn, and the winner of the first-round matchup on Thursday between Illinois and UC Davis. A couple of big contract extensions happened in the NFL today. First, the Arizona Cardinals reached a 4-year, $76 million contract extension with tight end Trey McBride. This extension makes the 25-year-old the highest-paid tight end in NFL history. And the Raiders extended their newly acquired starting quarterback Geno Smith to a 2-year, $75 million deal. He is now under contract through the 2027 season. The second round of the Crown continues tonight with UCF taking on Cincinnati and Villanova against USC. Also tonight is the NIT final as Chattanooga takes on UC Irvine at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is Hour 1 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
With the ball is Miller. Drives it on Cale. Jacobson lost the handle. It's stripped by Gary down the floor. Hoiberg, Gary lays it up. Got it! Huskers up 68-61, up by 7. Under 4 minutes to go in this game. Tremendous comeback in Vegas.
Queen set. Here's the pitch to Frost. Cale swings and hammers one to left. That pushes Turley back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. Cue the lights. Cale Frost. A 2-run blistered shot to left. And Nebraska's now up a touchdown and a PAT. It's 7-0 Big Red.
Batter Casey Hoffman, the pitch on the way. Hoffman swings and hammers this one. Deep right field. And it is a towering drive that's out of here. A home run for Casey Hoffman, her second of the game. A 3-run shot and a lucky 13 for the Big Red today.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome into Sports Nightly. Full 2 hours ahead for you here on the Huskers Radio Network. Our final show of the week as Husker Baseball will be here on the air coming up tomorrow night. We got a fun show coming up for you. We're going to hear from the president, Dr. Gold, coming up in hour number 2. Time for another check-in with him. So we'll have that in hour number 2. Had a fascinating, incredible conversation with Nebraska pitcher Kylee Magee, who is a fashion major, already has her own clothing line company. And so it's just such a great conversation. We're going to bring you a portion of that in hour number 2. And also a couple football interviews. It's funny today, actually, Jalyn Gramstad met with the media. And while I was talking with him, Dylan interrupts and says, "Hey, granddaddy." So he's got a few nicknames. I know they called him Jalyn Football sometimes last year. So we'll hear from him. And also Elijah Judy, one of the veterans that's returning in that defensive line that's coming up here in just a few minutes in hour number 1. In the meantime, Nick Hanley and I are going to chat a little Husker hoops, winning and advancing, some football. But Nick, how you doing? It was a late night. You left the ballpark a little late last night.
Late night, yes, it definitely was. That was a game that I think, as Ben mentioned in the 5th inning when we reached the halfway point, anytime we're going to the bottom of the 5th, you'll hear Ben or myself say, "All right, we're halfway home." I remember, for whatever reason, looking down at my clock, just because he had mentioned that we'd finally hit that benchmark. And we were well over 2 hours on the halfway mark of that game. And I thought, yeah, we're not getting home anytime soon. The amount of pitchers that were used last night.
The amount of runs scored.
The inability to hit the strike zone at times too. Yeah, it was I'm happy. I was joking around with my in-law They were at the game last night, and my brother-in-law, he's in town from Grand Rapids, Michigan. They went to the game last night, and he had texted me this morning, and he asked, I thought you'd still be at the ball game at 7 a.m. I go, it's not my innings right now, but the game's still going on. So, yeah, it was a long one, but unfortunately it did not go Nebraska's way. But, they're obviously in a very big conference series starting tomorrow night in Lincoln.
We're going to dive into that matchup coming up in hour number 2. But on that note, it was funny because I didn't look at social media once I started watching the basketball game. I had checked the game. It was 9-4. I'm like, surely this thing is over. I got in my car at halftime, and Josh is doing a scoreboard update and says, Nebraska baseball currently in action. I said, what? That's a marathon game. And for as quick as I feel like these games have been going, that was, I could not believe that game was still going when I got into the car at halftime of the men's basketball game.
That's what happens when there's that many pitchers that enter, and especially in the middle of innings, and also when you're not able to hit the strike zone consistently. So, the recipe for that and a little bit of offense on top of it. I think we've moved on from Thursday or from Wednesday, right? Yeah, we have moved on from that game. But, it was definitely a long one for sure.
All right, we'll dive into that matchup with Rutgers coming up here in hour number 2. But how about Nebraska basketball? Boy, they keep winning and advancing, and they are in the semifinals of the Crown. And again, I love that we have this to look forward to watching them in this tournament here in March. I guess now April.
It's been cool. And so this was what I did last night when I got back from the game is I have it all on my DVR list. So I just decided I'm going to go back and watch it from the start, even though as I was pulling into my house, I already knew that the game, I think, still had maybe 2 minutes left to go, and Nebraska was in control there, that back out to a double-digit lead. And doing the scoreboard in the postgame of baseball yesterday, I think there was still 15 minutes left to go, and Nebraska was up by 13 at that point. So Georgetown, they were clawing away a little bit, but I was curious to see after the opening games, there was just a good presentation, more than anything, trying to create a buzz. You're taking advantage of the long off week of the NCAA tournament, where you do have, typically even with the Sweet 16 games, we were getting games on Thursday and Friday. So you've got that small window for that week. This is the week where everyone is kind of collecting themselves, taking a deep breath, getting ready for the game Saturday and then Monday. That I think Vegas has done, and the Crown has done a great job of saying, hey, this is our window. Let's make the most of it. Let's put on the best presentation. You and I were just talking about before we went on the air, the excitement that comes from one Gus Johnson. And if there's someone that is going to really hype a product, that's your guy right there. But just the overall feel of it, and now that this thing is moving to T-Mobile Center, which is awesome for Nebraska, I just thought that they did a good job in that the first round and the quarterfinal round. And kudos for the Nebraska fans, the fans that I really have felt out of the games that I've seen so far, and I've watched a few of them, that have actually brought a pretty solid fan base. And they're sitting there. There was that picture that went viral last night of the one Nebraska fan sitting in between the benches there at Georgetown. So in between coaches and players, you got the one Nebraska fan in the Nebraska hoodie sitting there too. So it's been cool. And again, just like we've talked about many times, Nebraska has not changed their tone. They want to be there, and they're seeing this thing through now. A big, tough matchup tomorrow morning, or I should say Saturday morning, with Boise State. We're going to see where this thing is going to go, but right now Nebraska's doing their part.
To add to the point about Nebraska fans, I've seen it on social media, but I've also been a part of some conversations around here today of people looking up flights to Vegas to get there for the game tomorrow and potentially Sunday if they make the championship. So
is it because of Vegas? I mean, if this thing was in Delaware, would there be as much buzz? I mean, is it because, all right, hey, Nebraska's playing some postseason basketball, but it's Vegas.
I think it's both.
It's April.
I think it's the combination of it being Vegas and them making a run in a tournament. I mean, they're winning, and I think that excites fans, to have another opportunity to win. But also, absolutely. I got to imagine Vegas is playing a part in it.
I just want to know how Jake and Ken are doing with this long of a stretch in Vegas, because remember they arrived Saturday? I think they got there last Saturday afternoon. The team did, so I'm assuming Jake and KP also got there on Saturday. They're at least going to be there till this Saturday. So is that have we checked in on KP and Jake and how they're doing together in Vegas?
Well, you said you were listening to him last night. You thought maybe Kent was a little low key for Kent for standard Kent Pavelka terms.
It was. So, okay, I got to tell this story now that you bring it up. So I'm in my car. I knew what the score was when I left the ballpark. And so I'm thinking, as I'm hearing the tone, and usually you can tell how a basketball game is going if you catch it in progress and you're listening to KP and Jake. Well, they were going over the differences between ground and the floor. And they were then I think it was Kent's daughter had to chime in and give the AI definition of this. So this is all part of the broadcast. So I'm thinking, okay, there's maybe a minute left to go. Nebraska's clearly up by 15. All things are good. They hadn't even reached the 4-minute media yet. And all of a sudden, Georgetown gets a bucket to make it a single-digit deficit. It was a 9-point game. And then Nebraska comes right down. Andrew Morgan gets, I think, a putback that puts Nebraska up by double digits again. But Kent wasn't his usual exuberant, there's a big bucket by Morgan. And then, oh, boy, now here comes Georgetown. Like, it just seemed like they were having the best time regardless of what the score was going to be, which I loved. I loved hearing that, and they should be. It's postseason. This is an opportunity for this basketball program. But, Kent's got one level, and whether it's a college basketball crown, an NCAA tournament, CIT, or something in between, he's always on that one level of if Nebraska's winning or if Nebraska's losing, you're going to know. Well, they were having just the time of their life, yet the game still was a little bit in doubt. So I love that they're having fun, but I'm curious on how this is going to go Saturday. Now we're down to the semifinals and what the tone of those guys are right now. Maybe they've just been enjoying themselves in Vegas a lot.
On that note, though, it really did seem like, Nebraska came out, got off to a good start, and despite Georgetown maybe cutting it close, it seemed to be pretty well in hand for Nebraska pretty much throughout the entire game. I did want to hit on one more thing with Bryce Williams, and Gus actually brought it up. He's a lot, obviously, with the broadcast, and you got to love his enthusiasm and his energy. But one of the things he said early on was, that's an NBA player right there. I'm watching an NBA guy right there, when he was talking about Bryce Williams. And I think we've heard that a lot, and Coach Hoiberg has said that when scouts come in, he's really getting a lot of attention. A lot of guys are really excited about him, but here was another opportunity for him. I mean, he's just averaging 29 points a game, in this tournament, but I think he's also shown another level to himself for another maybe audience, show what he can do regardless of the competition. I think you're seeing all the different ways that he can score, which hopefully maybe he's moving up some draft boards.
Well, and besides what Gus said, I thought what Ed Cooley said after the game, too. And there's a lot of respect, I think, throughout all basketball circles for Ed Cooley and what he did at Providence and now at Georgetown, that there's a reason that people look at this Georgetown team and think that this is a team that's on the come. I think when you have Ed Cooley talking as high about a guy like Bryce Williams as he did, there's a guy that is also able, much like Fred Hoiberg, to evaluate certain people in college basketball and tell you about where they're going to be able to go and what their projection could possibly be at the next level. And I thought his assessment of the cool and calmness of Bryce Williams and what he did, which is the numbers are nothing new to us, but I thought it was interesting to hear an opposing coach talk about how he did that in such a collective manner, how he did that in such a cool and calm manner that it was almost like a ho-hum day at the office for Bryce Williams. And, okay, yeah, this isn't the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament, but this is a chance to win something in a tournament. And you and I have talked about the competitiveness of this team and this opportunity that Bryce Williams and certain players are going to rise to that occasion. The fact that he did it. And, yeah, when you go back and you watch that game and you watch how Bryce Williams was methodically a heavy impact offensively, defensively in the game, I thought what Ed Cooley had to say really resonated as, okay, now you've got another coach who's never seen him in person play this season is also having some rave reviews about him. For a guy that he knows that he's still got some work to do to try to get him to hear his name in the NBA draft, but also a guy that understands there's more basketball to be played. He could have shut it down and could have said, hey, I'm just going to work out individually. I'm going to do it that way, as we've seen a lot of players that are looking to go to the draft that maybe either don't make the postseason or make a postseason, but it's not the NCAA tournament. You've seen that road traveled many times. Bryce Williams didn't want to do that. He wanted to go about it the competitive way. He wanted to go about it the team basketball way, where I think you're going to get the best evaluations. And you're now, in this case, you're going to have other coaches that are singing your praises, coaches that have connections to the NBA, coaches that also are able to talk to NBA scouts as well and say, hey, yeah, by the way, did you see the kid from Nebraska? That guy's the real deal. Having that come from a guy like Ed Cooley on top of a guy like Fred Hoiberg, that's not going to hurt you at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, how about Kel Jacobson getting his start last night? Coach Hoiberg rewarding him for his performance and practices over the last couple weeks. I love that. I thought it was awesome that Coach Hoiberg gave him that opportunity, and he made the most of it. Again, a really highly productive night for Kel, doing a little bit of everything for this team.
And I'm starting to think this is more than just, evaluation for Kel Jacobson. And this, to me, now is becoming – all right, there's something that I think Fred Hoiberg, this basketball coaching staff, really sees, that there is an opportunity for this young man to really compete and have a role on this basketball team going forward. And to me, that is, I think that's what you want to see. Is we talked about this before, of the evaluation part of it and the opportunity that some of these guys that have had a lesser role throughout the season now currently have. Now that you're seeing him throw in the starting lineup, I think that's maybe the next phase of that evaluation for Fred Hoiberg. And again, as I mentioned on Monday or on Tuesday, maybe that's another evaluation for Kel Jacobson of, I want to see what I can do amongst this group. I want to see what I can do now in the starting lineup. It's preparation-wise. How do you prepare yourself mentally for being the first guys out there as opposed to coming off the bench? So I think, again, this is another great example of why these tournaments can be very beneficial to teams that feel like they're on the cusp of being in the NCAA tournament, and they're going to have some guys that come back. Yeah, you're going to have to replace guys we've talked about many, many times, but a guy that I think, I don't know about you, Jessica, I was wondering, where does Kel Jacobson fit in the future plans of Nebraska basketball? And what we've seen now the last couple of games, I think there's a role there for sure.
Well, and I think, too, just talking with Kel, and he's a Nebraska kid, and, Coach Hoiberg keeps saying how he's going to be a heck of a coach one day, and just his basketball mind. I think, too, because again, I've chatted with him, and he said that he appreciates the role, whatever role it is. He wants to win. He wants to help this program win, whether it's playing a lot during games or doing his job on the bench. So I think he's a guy that Coach Hoiberg always talks about that when you're building a team and getting a team to come together and be at its best is guys accepting their roles, whatever it might be. And Kel Jacobson is a guy, he wants to play. He wants to do whatever he can, but he's okay with whatever role. He is that guy that buys into that wholeheartedly. Like, let me just do whatever I need to do, whether that's playing a bunch of minutes, whether it's not playing a bunch of minutes, whether it's doing my job on the scout team, whatever. I think that those players are important for teams when you want to get back to the NCAA tournament.
100%. And how many times have we seen these great stories of whether it's during a conference tournament where somebody steps up, and whether they were injured or not, and somebody else had to just basically up their role, and they embraced it, and all of a sudden they became sort of a central focus of the following year. And I'm not trying to say Kel Jacobson is also all of a sudden going to replace Bryce Williams, but you're looking for not only able bodies to have some type of role on this team. And I don't want to also overlook the culture that Fred Hoiberg has built. What we talked about on Tuesday, Jessica, and that is the thing where you don't have a lot of transfers. You don't have a lot of guys that are leaving this program, because it's not a bad thing to be a student athlete at the University of Nebraska, whatever sport you're playing. But it also helps when you have a coach that has that culture established, like I think Fred really does. Okay, so you've got a culture piece, kind of like what we saw from a Griesel 2 years ago with what he was able to be a part of. Derek Walker, that was, I think, really the first wave of having that type of culture that Fred Hoiberg wanted to have. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be guys that are going to pour in 20 to 25 a night, but guys that when things get a little sticky, that you can lean on. Guys that have played some basketball in this program and been around this program and seen the ups and downs. Kel Jacobson had a front row seat to Nebraska essentially being a shoo-in to make the NCAA tournament, to a team that collapsed at the end. He saw the ups and downs of it, and he's a guy now that's seizing an opportunity to play some basketball, where I think there are also younger players that can look at his example and that they can use that as well. So I think these examples are the ones that coaches really look at and try to really hone in on. And I think what he has shown so far, again, is something that you can use. Now, whatever that role looks like in the following season, I don't know. I don't know how many, what that equates minutes-wise for a Cale Jacobson. But the bottom line is there's something with him, and I think it's a two-way street here. There's something that this coaching staff really wants to see more of, and they're giving him more opportunities. And the other end of that, there's a guy right now that's saying, hey, whether he was thinking about other opportunities or not, he's now seeing some opportunities he's getting right now. He's making the most of those. And I think you're all of a sudden finding what appears to be a nice little fit with a guy that can give you some very positive minutes. And at the end of the day, that's what it's coming down to, that plus minus the positive minutes that you're getting out of a guy that you really haven't been able to get at more than a handful of minutes per contest.
Great stuff. All right, we got to get to a break here. Our first break here on Sports Nightly. On the other side of this, we're going to chat with Jalyn Gramstad, who was made available to the media today following practice. I got a chance to chat with him one-on-one. A great conversation. So we're going to talk some Husker football. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Had another spring football media availability today. Glenn Thomas, Coach Raiola, Donovan Raiola met with the media, had press conferences, and then a couple players made available. One of those is Jalyn Gramstad, who would, as of today, would probably be the backup quarterback to Dylan Raiola. He transferred to Nebraska after he was the top NAIA player in the country and was at Northwestern College in Iowa, led that program to an NAIA national championship. He didn't transfer here, didn't get here till the summer last year. So this is actually his first spring with Husker football. I got a chance to chat with him one-on-one today after practice, see how spring football is going, his first spring football with Nebraska.
Yeah, well, it's my first one here, but it feels great just being out here with this team, just putting in a lot of work, working hard, just, getting better every practice and learning and growing. It's been a fun spring, fun winter. Excited to be back and playing.
Let's start with Dylan said the other day he talked to you about coming back. Hey, I need you coming back. Tell us about that conversation and why that was important for you to come back and be here for him.
Yeah, I mean, he just, we got a great relationship and, just having me back here and just someone that I can, just push him. He pushes me and just, we can learn and grow together and I can help him with everything that I know. And, he's, I was excited that, he wanted me to come back and just to help out, in the quarterback room and just be a part of it.
Such a leadership role, too. Now that you've been here, been around, been implemented in this program, how has that role also continued to develop for you being a leader for this football program?
Yeah, I think it's I've kind of found my voice and found my role as, being an older guy, but also just I think a lot of guys look up to me and, I think my voice, they listen to when I speak. And so just not abusing that, but just, when there's times that, maybe I do need to say something. I feel like I've, earned that just being here longer now and being here for the full off season that I can, speak up and try to, help guide guys throughout the off season and, the spring.
Watching you on the sidelines, you're very involved. You see a lot of things. You're able to point things out on the iPad. How much do you enjoy that, too, just being able to break things down for guys and pass along what you see? Yeah, I mean, that's so important, just seeing, X's and O's of what defenses are doing and where the ball needs to go, in certain plays. Just helping out, with our room. We got a pretty young quarterback room, so just we're all growing and learning. And Coach Thomas is pouring into us. And so, I think that part of it is super important, especially at the quarterback position. Is that something just because you've played a lot of ball, or is it something you spend a lot of time in, you enjoy it, comes naturally? Where does that come from, you being good at that? I think naturally, I've just loved football and just all the X's and O's of, the ball needs to be placed in the right spot against, the ball can beat really any coverage. And so just having that mindset of whatever the defense does, we can beat it with, the perfect ball or the right read. Just kind of naturally, I've always loved football and just reading defenses. And so just, applying that when I'm out here playing. And then, With Coach Thomas, you mentioned him. Now that you guys have some more familiarity with him, how has that continued to grow and develop and what you guys are doing in that quarterback room? Yeah, we're just, taking it day by day, and he's a great teacher. Coach Thomas is not. I just like his teaching style. He's not one to really, get too hard on you and beat you down. He'll obviously, when you're wrong, he'll obviously let you know. But I just like the way he teaches, and we got a great just environment in the quarterback room where everyone can learn and grow, and my relationship with him has grown a lot, and I just look up to him a lot, and I think very highly of him as a coach. Well, Tell us about Dylan. You just walked by Kylee, granddad. What's your perspective of him and his growth in this position here at Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, just like since I've been here, I've seen his like voice. I think he's used his voice a lot more, just speaking up when things are maybe not going the way it's supposed to. Like, if we're not running, if we're not, just doing certain things, to the standard, his leadership I've seen has grown tremendously just this offseason. And just even in the QB room, yeah, he's just a great teammate. He's a great friend. Someone that it's just like so fun to be around. I think all of us in the locker room and all his teammates just love being around him, and just hanging out with him. He's a great dude.
One of the guys you guys spent a lot of time with now moved to another position, Heinrich Harburg, to the tight end position. How has that been, throwing the ball to him, and how is he continuing to progress in that role? Yeah, he's doing well. It's been different. It's been fun. Like, I'm in the huddle, and then he's playing tight end. It's different, from when I came here. He was a quarterback, so it's been great. Just seeing him kind of switch to a new position, and he's really attacking that. And I think he's really motivated about this position, being for the future. This position being his. So it's been a lot of fun, and just it's been cool. How about Coach Holgerson's offense now, as you guys have become more familiar with it? What excites you the most about what you guys are going to be able to do with him leading this offense?
Yeah, I'd say just how versatile we are. Not a lot of X's and O's wise has changed, but just being able to really take anything the defense has really given, and being super just crisp and sharp, and on top of everything that we're doing. He's kind of helped a lot with just like how it's supposed to look, and holding everyone to that standard every day. Whether it's routes on air, one-on-ones. He's holding us quarterbacks to a high standard. We need to complete a lot of passes and have our percentages really high. And so he's helped a lot in that, like just overall how it's supposed to look, and just being honest and coaching us every day.
Dylan you could tell he's really excited about the wide receivers. So I'd love to get your perspective on that row. But it seems like there's a lot of talent. You guys can throw the ball around too. Yeah, a lot of great receivers. Some new transfers that have come in like Dane and Isaiah, but a lot of like young pieces, and even like Keelan's out now. But we got a lot of great like talented receivers that I think everyone's a little bit in different stages of their career. But I think I've seen a lot of like just the people in that room, some of the older guys like really leading and bringing along the younger guys, and they're all great. And I think if we give them a chance to make a play, they're gonna make a play. So I love all the receivers in that room. You've been a guy that Coach Rule, coaching staff, players have bragged on just the role that you've played since you've been here. How much pride do you take in what you do that maybe doesn't always show up on Saturdays, but what you do throughout the week to get this team prepared to play football? Yeah, I take, a lot of, I think it just speaks a little bit to my character. And, I guess I don't always know. I guess I have an impact, but I guess them speaking to it, I'm very grateful that they say those nice things to me. But I just try to approach every day, give my best attitude and give my best effort. And, I think if I can have an impact on the players around me, it's great. I always want to just be a player that like everyone can count on, and that I can just, promise big, deliver big, and be there for my guys when they need me. And, when they count on me to make a throw or make a play on third down, just, always be someone that can deliver and just be there for them. You had such a highly decorated career before you came here. What went into your decision to come here and play the role that you play, that maybe you're not the starting guy, but being able to impact this program in whatever way you can? Yeah, part of the decision was just to kind of push myself and to try to play at this level. And coming here, I know I can play at this level, and just also aspirations of maybe playing in the NFL. So this was kind of a next step for me, just to progress in my career, and always wanting to play here and try to play at the Division I level. That was kind of part of it. And then just as I got to, when I got here and I got to know all the coaches and all the team, I felt so comfortable being here, and everyone just kind of felt at home. So that's what kind of went into it, and it's been great, and I'm hoping for better, best,